Yeah, first of all, anytime a company that you've sponsored and were essentially a seed investor in raises money from others, it's a good day. A good day for OpenAI and a good day for Microsoft and our investors. Look, our partnership continues. We'll be a tech partner to Stargate, but more importantly, our partnership with OpenAI, you talked about exclusivity. OpenAI APIs are exclusive to Azure going forward even. So nothing changes there. IP access to Microsoft continues. And in fact, because of this, there will be more IP. And so therefore, we'll benefit. And we have rev share arrangements that are great. And also, OpenAI committed in a very significant way to Azure consumption. And so we're very thrilled about that as well. So all up, as far as I'm concerned, this accelerates OpenAI's model work, which accelerates Microsoft's ability to go to market with those models and really grow our business.
Let me ask you this. We had one of your competitors on early this morning, Mark Benioff, who has been very critical of this partnership. And one of the things that he said this is a demonstration of a fissure between the two companies, that you are going to go off longer term and build your own frontier models, and that there's a disconnect or of some sort between Sam Altman and Mustafa, who you hired to run your AI program. Can you speak to that?
I mean, look, I think the partnership with OpenAI to us is a critical partnership. We love it. It's working. It's created a lot of value for us. And we plan to just continue forward with it. It's true that on Azure today, there are other models. There are open source models. We have our own small language models, and we'll continue to have all of that. Because customers at the end of the day are going to demand choice there, and that's fine, and we'll make sure we support it. But having a leading model on Azure exclusively is a great advantage to us, and it's good.
Let me ask you this. So I talked to Sam Altman at DealBook just about a month and a half ago now, and he says, I don't think we're disentangling, to your point. He says, look, I will not pretend there are no misalignments or challenges. Obviously, there are some. On the whole, he said that he thinks it's tremendously positive. What are the things where there's not alignment? One of the things I noticed in one of your filings recently is you actually put OpenAI as a competitor on your list, which I thought must speak about your ambitions long term.
Yeah, but more importantly, I think for us, one of the things that, in fact, Stargate is the answer. You know, Sam wants to continue with the scaling laws to build out more compute in order for him to train more models. And we have a ROFR, so he comes to us first. If we meet those needs, then we clear it. If not, he can go to these other providers. And so therefore, I think it works out well for Sam and for us. So this was an adjustment, quite frankly, that we made in order to support both his needs, while at the same time keeping the integrity of what we wanted as the strategic value.
Microsoft recently shocked everyone and challenged Nvidia for its AI throne, with the CEO outright calling out Jensen, Huang, and Nvidia. Tech titans such as Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and Alphabet are throwing astronomical sums into the realm of artificial intelligence. With Microsoft leading the charge by committing $80 billion this year alone, the stakes couldn't be higher. But will they manage to snatch the top place, or will things go on as usual? Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
How much money do you ultimately put into this?
So this is where, Microsoft is investing $80 billion in capital each year, and this year we're investing. And I'm not particularly in the details of what they're investing.
Okay, and so, but when you look at that $100 billion commitment, $500 billion potential, I don't know if you saw Elon Musk took to Twitter and said they don't have the money. The money doesn't exist, as if this is not really going to happen. What do you think of that?
Look, all I know is I'm good for my $80 billion. I am going to spend $80 billion building out Azure. Customers can count on Microsoft with OpenAI models being there everywhere in the world, serving OpenAI models and other models. That's, I think, what I know.
One of the other discussions here in Davos, and even before Davos, has been this question of whether there's a wall, whether the scaling laws will continue apace. And Sam Altman has been out there saying that they will continue apace. Sundar Pichai has been suggesting that actually it gets a little bit more complicated sooner than we may imagine. Where do you land on that?
I mean, I think both are true, actually, because the reality is I don't think there's a wall. Things do get harder with scale. And interestingly enough, pre-training scale with, as the scale goes up, gets harder. But then What Sam and team have shown, even with O1 and now O3, is this inference time compute and the ability to really have inference scaling compound in some sense the effects of scaling laws. So what used to be a 6-month doubling, maybe a 3-month doubling. So I would say scaling laws are very much alive. And the question now is, in fact, if anything, how do you take advantage of all this capability building to deploy real AI systems?
Where are you on your own frontier models? Obviously, you did hire Mustafa. You have your own efforts that are underway. What does that look like? When will we see that? And what do you think that ultimately does to, I mean, you've done remarkably with OpenAI, and that may turn out to be a spectacular investment unto itself. But how you think this whole landscape shifts at some point?
I mean, I think just to be very, very clear, we have access to OpenAI IP, so we're not going to do things twice. So we are very, very happy with the access we have to OpenAI. It's just that we do have other models that we have built. We built the public model that we talk about is Phi, which is an SLM, or small language model, Phi-4. It's best in class for its parameter size. And we have other models too. But to me, the more important thing for me is to build value on top of OpenAI. So we have a fantastic post-training stack. We have done even a bunch of mid-training in different languages. So that's where our focus is.
In discussing AI computing infrastructure, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella warns of an inevitable oversupply. Nvidia, the current darling of the AI GPU world, finds itself perched precariously on this edge. With companies like OpenAI now venturing into designing their own AI chips, Nvidia's grip on the market might soon loosen. Despite the immediate demand for Nvidia's robust GPUs, the shadow of an overstuffed market looms. But before going on with the video, are you into cryptocurrency? If so, check out our second channel, Investocracy Crypto. We bring you breaking news, expert analysis, and the latest trends in the fast-moving world of digital assets. Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just curious about the future of finance, we've got something for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Investocracy Crypto now. Don't miss out and stay ahead of the game. Now, let's get back to the video.
Staying with Nvidia now, earnings obviously front and center next week. The latest checkup on the strength of the AI trade. For more on what to expect and what the current landscape actually looks like right now, let's bring in First Smart Capital founder and partner Rick Heisman. Welcome back.
Hey,
it's good to see you. So let's just think about Nvidia for a minute. I mean, in general, what do you think is on the line next week for the AI trade?
Well, it's really, are people continuing to spend on CapEx? And we're seeing not only the hyperscalers, but also companies in the private market continuing to bet big on the long term on AI and therefore continue to buy chips from NVIDIA.
So we heard within the last 24 hours from Jensen Huang, CEO, who addressed the fallout from DeepSeek, suggesting that the market got it wrong, that all it shows you is that you're going to need way more compute, not less. Some of the other hyperscaler CEOs spoke of, similar needs following that really big upset that we witnessed in the market, and I'm sure you watched it as closely as everybody else. Is that how you see it too?
I don't see it exactly the same way.
Where's the nuance then?
I see that there are going to be open source and closed source data sets, and they're going to need different amounts of compute to be able to work together. But, all the big models are going to need a massive amount of compute. So maybe the hyperscalers will have some closed models, even OpenAI having closed models. But some of the open source models will be used by more of the startup ecosystem and people who need to be more capital efficient.
Did you come away from that story thinking that it was less bullish for an NVIDIA, or at least even to some incremental degree? Did you come away thinking that?
A little bit, but not really, because what you're seeing is that there's still this fundamental demand from AI. The important thing is DeepSeek immediately rocketed to #1 on the App Store, which means there's still fundamental consumer demand for whatever AI products out there. And as much as you could track, fundamental demand equals demand for NVIDIA chips, and therefore that demand will remain for the near term.
If AI infrastructure surges ahead of consumer need, Nvidia could be in for a rocky ride, mirroring the railroad companies of the late 1800s who, despite being technological vanguards, still faced financial calamities when supply outstripped demand. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
The amount of money that the hyperscalers are spending, I mean, it's extraordinary, right? How long does the market accept that?
they have to accept it for the rest of 25, both on an offensive and defensive perspective. No one's going to announce on their earnings, oh, we're going to spend less because we believe less in AI. That's not going to be a 25 story. It's, hey, we have to be offensive and defensive. We're at least halfway across this lake. We're beginning to see with things like Agent Force, the AI is working, it's driving ROI, and we need to continue to double down on this hand.
As a VC who's backed some what are now really big companies that were once just startups, did you come away at least from the DeepSeek story thinking in any way, you're now going to be able to do a whole lot more with a whole lot less? I'm talking about money and how that impacts the kind of companies you want to invest in and the dollars you want to put.
I think it was exciting from that perspective that, there's more open source models. You'll be able to do them in different ways, and they'll be much more, to your point, capital efficient than what we would have guessed 6 months ago. So you're not going to need, I came away less bullish on OpenAI. I did. It was closed models who are claiming you have to spend tens of billions of dollars to have these models work. And what DeepSeek proved, and they spent more money than they probably would have let on, is that if you have an open source model and you have a data set, you could build smaller applications much more cheaply, which is awesome for the startup.
So then
The buzz around this financial skirmish is palpable, with investors nervously eyeing Nvidia's chart-topping figures. At its heart, the trillion-dollar question remains: can Nvidia and the broader market manage this explosive AI potential without tumbling into the abyss of oversupply? What do you think? Share your perspective. Finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.